What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Kim Wilde, and thank you once again to Mark for providing a great deal of music, including the Kim album so far. And indeed, I wanted to mention there were two alternative versions, or I think specifically 7-inch mixes, of album tracks from the self-titled release that I'm skipping over here, which is to say, Water on Glass and Tuning In, Tuning On. There are 7-inch mixes, but I figure we'll go to the next album, and I think, was it Nicola? Someone was mentioning that they were especially looking forward to starting with Select, so that's what we're here to do. I will circle back at some point and react to those 7-inch mixes, which might even be more interesting with a bit of a distance and more Kim songs under my belt, so to speak. In any case, yes, Select 1982, I do have access to the deluxe edition, so I think there's probably some bonus tunes in this folder as well. And the opening tune is Ego, which is a concept most notable in psychology relating to a facet of one's self-identity. And of course, in Freudian psychoanalysis, it means something even more narrowly. I do wonder if that's essentially the context. Now, of course, ego in colloquial parlance can mean someone's self-importance, their less savory aspects, their more selfish mental and behavioral dimensions, and thus one's ego can get in the way of more complimentary or more magnanimous or more ethical type of thoughts and behavior. So if your ego is in that vein, it is, let's say, more critical or a more negative attribute or characteristic. In any case, it is a single word title, meaning there's no additional context, so I don't quite know what to make of it. I'll try to catch what I can. This is Kim Wilde. The song is Ego, and it's the opening tune from her 1982 album, Select. What a wild album opener. So, first of all, sonically, it's crazy, it's energetic, it's dynamic, it has sort of this syncopated, like, hiccup type of rhythm. It's very frenetic, there's a lot of, like, energetic tension. It's almost like, hyper caffeinated or something, but not in a bad way. In fact, I was thinking there's a point along the way, I've been listening to John Fox, and some of his bonus tunes, which are, very electronic, they have this eccentricity. I was also thinking at a point about, like, Thomas Dolby, where, like, it's just a bit crazy, and it's like, it's synth pop, but it's like, it's not standard. Not that, a lot of the groups I go through from the 80s, known for, like, synth pop or synth rock or, like, new wave, not that they make, like, standard or predictable music, but there's some artists in that umbrella set of labels that just kind of make their own crazy, eccentric version of those genres. And this tune felt like that. It felt like wild and unpredictable, even as, again, it had some stylings that fit into some categories more broadly that I have been deep diving on the last few years. So, yeah, just a really, like, energetic and wild kind of tune, very kinetic. Secondarily, there's some, like, really, what's the right word? Like, unusual pairings of sounds. So, like, we have these kind of, like, laserish, like, squiggles. We have this, these little guitar flourishes, but also these big, like, dramatic organ keys in the chorus. And so that's, like, an interesting combination. Indeed, those, like, organ keys or chords really, like, stood in contrast to a lot of the other more, like, rapid fire, almost like staccato type sounds. So, like, I enjoyed that balance and that contrast. And lyrically, I think it is very much about the negative perception of the concept of ego. Ego as, like, self-importance, selfishness, like being concerned with yourself at the expense of or in disregard to others. And she seems like she's not only had enough, but she's telling him the way it is. She's dressing him down and also indicating what he can expect from her, which at this point is little more than that criticism and the idea that she wants nothing to do with him. But yeah, she's saying that, you never cared for anyone, and to the degree that you did show me love or gave me love, it was only to satiate your own ego. It was only to make yourself feel better about who you are and what you're doing, and thus, it wasn't genuine. There was no sincerity in the emotion and love that you showed, to the degree you showed it at all. So it's a withering assessment of this other person, but it also does suggest there was an earlier time frame in which she approached him more generally, or not generally, genuinely, and thought that there could be something worthwhile in this connection. But she's now reached a point in the present timeline of the song that she knows that not to be true. She wants nothing to do with him. She wants him out of her life. And this critique is all that he's going to take away from her now, because she's not going to be giving any more love, and she's not going to be expecting any genuine feeling. And indeed, it's like she's making a comment beyond just their involvement. She's saying, like, you never cared about anyone. Like, anyone in your life probably went through the same experience, that to any extent that you did show them emotion or sympathy or involvement, it was all for your own purposes. It was all to make yourself feel better or to prop up yourself socially or emotionally. So, yeah, it's a really scathing critique of this other person, and I enjoy her vocals. They felt like there was a bit of, like, echo, or, like, they were sort of, like, surrounded in this, like, spacious environment of all these crazy sonics interacting with each other and contrasting each other. So yeah, a wild opener. I very much enjoyed it, even as I was trying to, like, find my bearing with it along the way. So yeah, looking forward to the rest of the album. Once again, shout out to Mark for sharing. Let me know what you think, and I will see you for the next one. Peace.